With Sun and Moon fresh on the minds of today, I thought it'd be a good idea to detour our top 10 favorite series all the way to Generation 7. That way we can calm the minds of those triggered by my top 5 worst dragons, and top 10 worst shinies, and my channel in general. But you know what? Who doesn't like a little bit of triggering? So to keep this list even more competitive, we'll be calling the top 10 favorites the top 10 best, who also happen to be my favorites. That way, I can make more jokes and will hopefully spark some wonderful discussion in the comments. So let's begin, shall we? Welcome everyone to the top 10 best Gen 7 Pokemon. Excluding Ultra Beasts and Alola forms, but not legendaries because the new ones weren't around when I made a legendary video. Hope you enjoy. Number 10. Let's start us off with a Pokemon that's just all around fun, Mimikyu. I think Mimikyu is the second best of the more gimmicky non-evolving Pokemon. You know how Game Freak makes those small Pokemon that don't evolve and are usually a Pikachu clone? Well, this one isn't a Pikachu clone, but it wants to be Pikachu and is a Ghost Fairy type. It has a pretty alright spread of stats, and its ability is quite nice, so it has some good gameplay aspects. Its story is also just plain sad. It wears old Pikachu memorabilia because it wants as much love as Pikachu gets. That's just tear-wrenching. So you know what? You're here starting off this list so we can immediately show Mimikyu some love and say we're here for you. Hashtag you for Mimikyu. Number 9. Rowlet. Even though Rowlet still deserves the number 1 spot, that'd be a bit predictable. So I thought I'd start this list off with Rowlet. But I couldn't bear putting it at number 10, so here we are at number 9. With Rowlet. I just think Rowlet's the best of the starter Pokemon. I mean, if you think someone else is the best starter, that's perfectly fine. I find them all wonderful. I just think if you have a squishy round bird that can cutely sleep in a backpack, it might jump to being a pretty good starter Pokemon. I mean, sure, picking Litten makes the game easier and picking Rowlet makes it a lot harder because nothing's weak to grass and everything's weak to fire, but you know what? That's added challenge. If you want to tame this cute little bird, you need to put some work in. Oh, Rowlet. I wish I could put you higher. Number 8. Palossand. What can I say? This is actually the best sandcastle Pokemon they've ever made, and I like it. I'm really enjoying these sort of weird object Pokemon that are possessed by ghosts, like Chandelure or Gengar being a shadow, and Gothitha. I mean, it's not a ghost, but you know it's dead inside. I really just like Palossand's design and overall feel. It's creepily possessing people, but looking pretty good while it does it. Number 7. Wishiwashi. Remember how I said Mimikyu is the second best standalone Pokemon? Well, that's because Wishiwashi is the best. I really love its ability, as it sort of evolves Wishiwashi without actually evolving it. It also makes it really powerful until it loses a lot of health, which I think is a really cool mechanic. It has very high stats overall, but very low speed to counterbalance, since Wishiwashi's school form actually has more base stats combined than every single pseudo-legendary, and some actual legendaries as well. Wishiwashi is a Pokemon that I find to be very well made, and I think they put a lot of consideration into it to make it very good. Number 6. Silvally. I love that they made essentially a Mew for Arceus. Silvally has a similar stat spread with a nice 95 base in every stat, mimicking Arceus 120 base in every stat, but being a bit weaker as it's only a clone of Arceus. It also has a cool way of evolving through happiness, as it does come off as a bit of an abused creature in Sun and Moon. This adds more personality and story to Silvally, as you can befriend it as a type null, and finally make it trust you enough to take that inhibiting helmet off its head, unleashing its full speed and ability. It's a very different Pokemon that I feel has a good, all-around feeling to it, with its origins, its ability, and its nice design. Number 5. Kommo-o. Fighting Dragon is such a cool combination, and Kommo-o does it justice. Aside from it being quite strong, one of the reasons I like this dragon so much is the fact that the fighting type isn't overly exaggerated, so it feels like an actual fighting dragon, instead of having the typing just tacked onto it. I am sort of disappointed by the very small amount of fighting moves you can choose from, but being able to learn Sky Uppercut, one of my favorite fighting moves since I got it on my Blaziken in Gen 3, makes me quite happy. Number 4. Golisopod. How could I pass up the chance to label the 7th Gen Gyarados as one of the best Gen 7 Pokemon? I love its sort of robotic design, like it's from the Terminator movies and it's here to attack us. It has this fierce look, and bumps it high up on the list of really sick bug Pokemon. It is a bit slow, unfortunately, but has a bunch of cool moves that make up for that, like First Impression and Sucker Punch, I guess. It also learns the move Liquidation, which is just perfect because I actually need to get some new furniture for my place. Number 3, Lunala. I like Lunala and Solgaleo pretty similarly, but Lunala edges itself ahead slightly as I find it a tad bit different from the rest of the Pokemon. So if you like Solgaleo more, you can join in on the Jethrtex Interactive Top 10, where every time I say Lunala, you can say Solgaleo instead. So if you like Solgaleo more, just say it every time I say Lunala. Starting now. Lunala has such wonderful purple wings. It looks like it summons another dimension, and probably does. If you jump into its circular form, you'll probably end up in Peru. Lunala has a bunch of really cool ghost moves as well, like Moongeist Beam and Confuse Ray. Who's ready to hit themselves? In all seriousness, Lunala is another one of those Pokemon that doesn't completely meld into the typical Pokemon design, making it feel somewhat more special, and I like Lunala for that reason. Lunala, what a great bat-like creature. Number 2, Marshadow. This is exactly what I asked for in a ghost fighting type. I mean, I said it should look like a combination of the ghost from Thousand Year Door and the Dojo Master from the first Paper Mario, and here it is, almost exactly as described. It just makes me so happy to see this speedy physical ghost that learns a bunch of punching moves and a few kicks for balance. I think this has to be my favorite newer legendary Pokemon, because it reminds me a lot of Jirachi, Shaman, and all the other more cute legendaries, but also being a ghost and giving it that eerie touch. On top of the fact that it's the first ghost fighting, and it was so well done. I think this is the best design for the first ghost fighting type, and I just feel so proud of you, Game Freak. Good job. Number 1, Dhelmise. When I saw Dhelmise, it was love at first sight. It's an anchor, a giant steel anchor with the steering wheel of a boat attached to it, and its ability is Steelworker. You know that's someone who's gonna get the job done. Maybe I just like its unique look. A freaking anchor that's covered in green algae that's actually its body, and it's possessed by a ghost. That's like a rough Thursday for me. And you know what it learns? It learns Earthquake. This metal anchor that's used to the water can even cause the earth to quake and shake your belief system. What a boss! Its Pokedex entry is even showing off how strong it is, saying it can KO a Wailord in one single blow. Never despise Dhelmise. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. If you're feeling up to it, you can go through this video and play a game of Where's Waldo, except you have to search for every time I troll. The prize is my undying eternal ham sandwich. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, and I will see you all next time. So until then, keep on catching.